Hello, dear students. Very good morning, all of you. In this class, we're going to discuss about chapter number 5, Legislature. That is chapter number 5 of Political Science first book, that is Indian Constitution at Work. And as the name of this chapter suggests you, legislature, an organ of the government, very important organ of the government in democracy. What is the role of the legislature? As far as India is concerned, in India, what is the mechanism of legislature we have followed? What was adopted in our constitution? The bicameral legislature, the two houses of the parliament, what are the powers given to the legislature? That's what we're going to discuss in this chapter. Now, in this chapter, after reading this chapter, you all will be able to give the answers of these questions, like the importance of the legislature, what is the importance of the legislature, the functions and the powers of the Parliament of India, and the lawmaking procedure, how the Parliament controls the executive and how the Parliament regulates itself. That's what we're gonna discuss, everyone. Now, all of you, the first question, that is, why do we need a parliament? This is your first question. Why do we need a parliament? So, the main function of the parliament is lawmaking, but it is not merely lawmaking. Apart from lawmaking, a lot of works are done by the parliament, such as walkouts, protests, demonstration, unanimity, concern and cooperation also go on in parliament. We just consider that it is the lawmaking that is done by the parliament, but not only lawmaking, these all other things are also done by the parliament. So legislature is not merely a lawmaking body. Absolutely, its main work is the lawmaking, as we all know. But apart from lawmaking, it has other works also, other functions also. So there are other functions of the legislature that is also very important. Those are also very, very important. And such as it is the center of all democratic political process. Many times you might have seen in the Lok Sabha TV or Rajya Sabha TV, nowadays the live proceeding of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha goes on live. So in which you might have seen that the opposition parties always sometimes they sometimes protest over particular issues. They just raise certain placards also. They raise their voice against the government, against particular issue. They debate, they criticize the government policy. Sometimes you might have seen they support also. So cooperation and the opposition, both things go hand in hand in parliament. So why do we need parliament? We need parliament for all these things. Absolutely, the first main activity or main function of the parliament is lawmaking. But apart from that, apart from lawmaking, the legislature has these all other things also. This is the legislature is the center of all democratic political process. Now, all these serve very vital purposes. Indeed, a genuine democracy is inconceivable. Indeed, a genuine democracy is inconceivable without a representative, efficient, and effective legislature. So even genuine democracy will be inconceivable. There must be representative and effective legislature. So that's how you can understand the importance of legislature. In legislature actually who sit? Who are the part of the legislature? The representatives. And without representatives, can you imagine the democracy? No, we cannot imagine. Like for instance, in India, in legislature, in the central legislature, we have parliament. And parliament, we have both two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In Lok Sabha, the people are directly elected and they are known as our representative, and MP, member of parliament. So without member of parliament, without the representative, can you imagine legislature? No, you cannot imagine. And without legislature, can you imagine democracy? No, we cannot imagine. So that's why you can understand the importance of legislature in a democracy. Now, next. So therefore, the legislature also helps people in holding the representatives accountable, because they are part of that legislature, and that legislature has the responsibility. And what is the responsibility? The main responsibility is the lawmaking, and apart from that, the other political process. That's what we discussed. Now, this is indeed the very basis of representative democracy. So the legislature is part of the representative democracy. In most democracies, legislatures are losing central place to the executive. Very important, very good line. That in current circumstances, in current world, you see that in India also, that legislatures are losing central place to the executive. You know, you all know that legislature makes the law. As we have been reading this thing in our junior classes also, we have been reading all these things, that the main work of the legislature is law making. But the law, like the bill, which is brought in the parliament, it is passed from the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, then it goes to the president. That's how it becomes an act. But the bill is introduced by the ministers, by the cabinet. So it is said that in India too, the cabinet initiates the policies. It brings the bills. It sets the agenda for governance. It carries them through. So this has led some critics to remark that parliament has declined and the cabinet has like grown. So in democracy, it is all about the cabinet, but it is not the case. If we go deep, then we understand that even very strong cabinet, they also must retain majority in the legislature. Without having the majority in the legislature, in democracy, no government can function. Just take example of India. In India, you all know that in Lok Sabha, we have 543 total constituencies. And out of 543 constituencies, we need 272 constituencies for forming a government. So if any government loses the majority in Lok Sabha, it cannot remain as government. It has to like resign. The prime minister has to resign, and the ministry will also automatically lose its reign. So therefore, even the strong leadership, even the strong cabinet, it has to have the majority in the Lok Sabha, in the parliament, and even the strong leader has to face parliament and answer to the satisfaction of the parliament. You know, many times you might have seen in Lok Sabha TV or Rajya Sabha TV that the opposition leaders, sometimes even the party majority, the ruling party leaders themselves, they ask questions from the ministers, even the prime minister. They have to deliver, they have to give the answers. So that's how the accountability is maintained. That's how the accountability of the cabinet, accountability of the government is maintained through the legislature. So here we are understanding the importance of the legislature. So herein lies the democratic potential of the parliament. It is recognized as one of the most democratic and open forum of debate. You know, however, negatively we in news channels also, and it is a kind of perception in the minds of the people that sir, parliament के अंदर तो MP शोर शराबा करते हैं, सर कुछ नहीं हल्ला मचाते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है, बिल्कुल नहीं है ऐसा. Many times you see the bills or the policy related discussion which go on in parliament, like a lot amount of time is given to the discussion, to the debate, and intense and thorough debates happen in the parliament. So it is the highest forum of debate on the policy related matters. And you know, many times the government brings the bill, as we have discussed that it is the cabinet which introduces the bill. And many times if they think that the recommendations or the suggestions which are given by the opposition parties, they are better, so they include those suggestions, those recommendations in the bill. That's how the law which becomes later on, it becomes in a better way. So that's how we understand that that the importance and the power of the parliament. So it is also open forum of debate and the highest open forum of debate on the public related issues. On account of its composition, it is the most representative of all organs of government. Obviously, most representative because as we know that you have been reading you have been reading in the previous classes also, since junior classes, we have been reading that in civics, that there are three organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary. And we all know that it is in the legislature the representatives sit. Like legislature, if we talk in India, it is parliament, and in parliament it is like constituted by the representatives which are elected by the people, directly or indirectly. So that's how we are understanding that it is most representative of all the three organs of the government. It is above all vested with the power to choose and dismiss the government. You know, it is the parliament through that the government is formed. If any political party which contests election, if they need to form the government, they must have the majority in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha specifically in India. Okay. Like few examples have been given to you in the next topic, that is the activity. Some newspaper cuttings have been given to you, and these cuttings show the importance of the legislature, importance of the parliament. You know, like a particular incident happened in 28th of February 2002, when Union Finance Minister at that time, Jaswant Singh, it was the government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Jaswant Singh announced that in Union budget that there will be an increase of rupees 12 in the price of 50 kg bag of urea, and a smaller increase in the price of two other fertilizers, which constituted about 5% rise in the prices. So in the budget, they have they increased the prices of the urea and some other fertilizers. So what happened? The current urea price of rupees 4,830 a ton carries a subsidy of as much as 80%. Now, 11th of March 2002. So this budget was proposed on 28th of February 2002 by Jaswant Singh. On 11th of March 2002, what happened? The finance minister had to roll back the increase in fertilizer prices under intense opposition pressure. Now, prices बढ़ा दी गई थी because it was controlled by the government earlier. The government ने prices बढ़ा दी certain fertilizers की, urea की, which is used in agriculture. It was done in 28th of February. But in 11th of March, the government had to roll back its decision. अपने decision को वापस लेना पड़ा. Why? Because there was intense opposition pressure. तो आप कई बार देखते हो ना कि कोई गवर्नमेंट अगर पार्लियामेंट फंक्शन कर रही होती है, उसमें ऑपोजिशन लीडर तो हम देखते हैं बिल्कुल ऐसे चिल्ला रहे होते हैं ना, प्लाकार्ड्स लिए हुए होते हैं और बिल्कुल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन कर रहे होते हैं पार्लियामेंट के अंदर ही. तो इस एग्जांपल से भी आप उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस समझ सकते हो कि एक डिसीजन लिया गया और उस डिसीजन को रोल बैक करना पड़ा गवर्नमेंट को. So that is the importance, that is the power of the legislature, that sometimes even government has to roll back its own decisions. Why? With the pressure of the opposition parties in the parliament, and through the pressure, through demonstrations, opposition parties, what they do, जैसे याद करो आपने पिछली क्लासेस में पढ़ा होगा, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज का एक फंक्शन ये भी होता है शेपिंग पब्लिक ओपिनियन. तो ऑपोजिशन पार्टी ऐसे डेमोन्स्ट्रेशंस वगैरह करके पार्लियामेंट के अंदर क्या करती हैं, लोगों का ओपिनियन शेप करती हैं. तो गवर्नमेंट भी उससे प्रेशराइज हो जाती है और उनको डिसीजन अपने रोल बैक करने पड़ते हैं. एक और एग्जांपल दे रहा है आपको, ऐसा ही दूसरा एग्जांपल बता रहा है आपको कि उसमें भी गवर्नमेंट को एक तरीके से क्या करना पड़ा, अपनी जो डिसीजन था उसको रोल बैक करना पड़ा. जो नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल आपको बता रहा है यशवंत सिन्हा का, who was finance minister at that time. So Yashwant Sinha had to also roll back the hike in the urea prices. तो 4th of June 1998 को लोकसभा में हाई किया गया यूरिया प्राइसेस है ना, और पेट्रोलियम प्राइसेस को तो उनको दोबारा रोल बैक करना पड़ा. So here you can see the importance of the parliament, that apart from law making, ऐसा नहीं कि लॉ मेकिंग की चीज है, वहां पे डेमोन्स्ट्रेशंस ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज ने ऑर्गेनाइज कर दिए या डिबेट वगैरह की, तो उसमें अल्टीमेटली गवर्नमेंट हैड टू एक्सेप्ट एंड दे हैड टू रोल बैक देयर ओन डिसीजंस. So that is the importance of the parliament. Apart from law making, it has other political works also in democracy. Now the next question, that is your next topic, why do we need two houses of parliament? Next question is very interesting, that in India, as you all know, that we have bicameralism. Now what do you mean by bicameralism? Where there are legislature has two houses of the legislature. So in India, if someone asks you what do you mean by parliament, what you will say? That the central legislature of India is parliament. Now in central legislature, that is parliament, two houses we have, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now this question may come in your mind, sir, why do we have two houses? There may be one house also, one house that also can work in a better manner, but why do we have two houses? That is your next question. So there are a lot of reasons that we have two houses of the parliament. So we have two houses, two times if a particular decision, if a particular bill will go twice, it will be discussed, it will be debated, then a better result will come out. And to give regions or states much of the representation, so therefore we also included two houses. So these are few reasons. On the basis of that, we can say that we adopted two houses of the parliament. Now let us go through the paragraph. So the term parliament refers to the national legislature. Okay, so simple definition of the parliament is national or central legislature. So if someone asks you what do you mean by parliament, central legislature of India is known as the parliament. Simple. Now the legislature of the states is described as the state legislature. As you all know that we have federalism here. So in central legislature is parliament, and what is the state legislature? That is legislative assembly. Or there are like few states where we have legislative council also. As you know, in parliament we have bicameral, two houses. So in the state legislature also we have two houses, legislative assembly as well as legislative council. But only few states have legislative council with legislative assembly. Now the parliament in India, it has two houses. When there are two houses to the legislature, it is known as bicameral legislature. By means two, cameral means houses. So we have bicameral legislature. It simply means that we have two houses of the parliament. And the two houses of the Indian parliament are the Council of State, that is Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha is sometimes known as the upper house, Lok Sabha is known as the lower house. However, the real power is in the hands of the Lok Sabha, because the central government is formed with the majority in the Lok Sabha only, not in the Rajya Sabha. And you know, the money bill and the budget is also discussed in Lok Sabha, not in Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can discuss the money bill only for 14 days. That's what we're gonna discuss in our next topic. Now let us go through the paragraph once again, everyone. So the constitution has given the states the option of establishing either a unicameral or bicameral legislature. Now, as far as the state legislature is concerned, अभी हमने सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेचर की बात कर ली, तो क्या बात की कि सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेचर में हमारे पास पार्लियामेंट होगी, जिसमें हमारे यहाँ पे दो हाउसेज है पार्लियामेंट के, लोकसभा राज्यसभा, ठीक है। ऐसा मैकेनिज्म कहाँ पे होता है? स्टेट के अंदर होता है, उसको हम कहते हैं स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर। और स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर में ऑप्शन होता है स्टेट के पास में दैट दे कैन ईदर हैव, देयर आल्सो मे बी टू हाउसेस, दो हाउसेस हो सकते हैं, कंपल्सन है दोनों हाउसेस का। अभी करंटली देयर आर ओनली 6 स्टेट्स व्हिच हैव टू हाउसेस। एक हाउस तो कंपल्सरी है जो लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली बोलते हैं, मगर स्टेट है वहां पे, तो ठीक है। सो द ऑप्शन ऑफ एस्टैब्लिशिंग ईदर अ यूनिकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर और बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर, इट लाइज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द स्टेट। सो एट प्रेजेंट ओनली 6 स्टेट्स हैव बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर। अभी सिर्फ 6 स्टेट्स हैं हमारे देश में जिनमें बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर है। इसका मतलब वहां पे लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली भी है, लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल भी है। इसके अलावा जितने भी स्टेट्स हैं दूसरे, वहां पे क्या है? सिर्फ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली। और वो 6 स्टेट्स कौन से हैं? ये हैं वो 6 स्टेट्स। कौन कौन से? देखिए, आंध्र प्रदेश, बिहार, कर्नाटक, महाराष्ट्र, तेलंगाना, उत्तर प्रदेश। These are the 6 states where we have legislative council as well as legislative assembly. Apart from that, other states have legislative assembly only. Now, so here you can see the map of India. As you all know that Jammu and Kashmir also earlier it had legislative council, but now after the revocation of Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir, where Ladakh and the Jammu and Kashmir region both was like they were bifurcated and they were converted into UT, Union Territory. Okay. Now, countries with large size and much diversity usually prefer to have two houses of the national legislature, so as we did, to give representation to all sections of the society and to give representation to all geographical region or parts of the country. So this is also the reason that we adopted bicameral legislature. So in our India, in parliament, we have two houses. This is also one of the reason that we are a very large country. We have so much diversity on the regional basis, on different basis. So to give representation to all the section of society, we have adopted bicameralism, and to give representation to all the geographical region also, we have adopted bicameralism. Okay. Now, bicameral legislature has other advantages also. One more advantage, and what is that? Bicameral legislature makes it possible to have every decision reconsidered. तो एक ही डिसीजन को दोबारा डिस्कस किया जाता है, डिबेट किया जाता है, तो उससे एक अच्छी चीज बाहर निकलती है ना। सिंपल सी बात है, अगर एक ही डिसीजन जो है उसको हम, एक चीज अगर आप डिस्कस कर रहे हो और अगर आप अपने कोई बड़े हैं या और किसी अपने फ्रेंड के साथ में अगर दूसरी चीज डिस्कस कर सकते हो, तो हो सकता है शायद आपको कुछ और अच्छा सजेशन मिल जाए। तो ये भी एक रीजन है कि हमने बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर अडॉप्ट किया। पहला रीजन आपने देखा, रिप्रेजेंटेशन देने के लिए, ज्योग्राफिकली भी और सोसाइटी में सबको रिप्रेजेंटेशन मिल जाए। दूसरा रीजन क्या है? दूसरा रीजन सिंपल है, दैट मेक दिस बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर मेक्स इट पॉसिबल टू हैव एवरी डिसीजन रिकंसिडर्ड। सो अगर एक डिसीजन दोबारा रिकंसिडर होगा तो अच्छी चीज बाहर निकलेगी। सो एवरी डिसीजन टेकन बाय one house goes to other house for its decision. Simple. This means that every bill and policy would be discussed twice. This ensured a double check on every matter. Even if one house takes a decision in haste, अगर कोई मान लो एक हाउस जल्दबाजी में डिसीजन ले ले, तो दूसरा हाउस उस डिसीजन में अगर मानो कोई फॉल्ट रह गया तो उसको निकाल सकता है ना, पॉइंट आउट कर सकता है, तो अच्छी चीज बाहर निकलेगी एक तरीके से ना. सो दैट डिसीजन विल कम फॉर डिस्कशन इन द अदर हाउस एंड रिकंसिडरेशन विल बी पॉसिबल. Simple. So that's why, that is the reason, that's why we have two houses of the parliament and bicameralism in India. So that was the question, that why do we need two houses of the parliament? Now, as we have already discussed that in two houses we have first Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha is upper house and Lok Sabha is the lower house. Now let us discuss about Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha separately. First, Rajya Sabha. Now you know each of the two houses of the parliament has different bases of representation. The Rajya Sabha represents the states of India. It is an indirectly elected body. Now it is very important that, sir, the representatives who sit in Rajya Sabha, how they are elected? Are they elected by the people of India? Means right to vote, universal adult franchise is used in the election of Rajya Sabha? No. Everyone, the representative of Rajya Sabha, the member of parliament of Rajya Sabha, they are elected indirectly. And who elect them? Member of legislative assembly of the respective states. So you know, in India, like seats are limited, seats are set. Currently there are 250 seats total in Rajya Sabha. So they are divided among different states according to the population of the states. Like in Rajasthan, for instance, we have 10 seats reserved, like 10 seats are here from Rajasthan. So in others, in different states, there are different number of seats according to the population of that state. And the member of legislative assembly of that state will elect the member of the parliament of Rajya Sabha. So that's how indirect election happens for the Rajya Sabha. So the elected members of state legislative assembly in turn elect the members of Rajya Sabha. We can imagine two different principles of representation in the second chamber. One way is to give equal representation to all the parts of the country, irrespective of their size and population. We may call this as symmetrical representation. On the other hand, parts of the country may be given representation according to their population. The second method means that region or parts having larger population would have more representative in the second chamber than regions having less population. अब आपको क्या बताया, दो कंसेप्ट बताया कि राज्यसभा में इलेक्शन के दो मेथड हो सकते हैं. एक तो होता है सिमेट्रिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, कि लाइक इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ साइज, इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ पॉपुलेशन, जितने भी स्टेट्स होंगे सब स्टेट्स में इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन कर दिया. जैसे अमेरिका के अंदर, यूएसए में, वहां पे 50 स्टेट्स है, हर स्टेट में 2 सीट्स है सीनेट के अंदर. तो 2 सीट्स है, सिंपल सा मतलब टोटल 100 सीट्स हो गए. तो इंडिया में भी अगर मानो ऐसा होता कि इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन दिया जाता राज्यसभा के अंदर, हर स्टेट्स में इक्वल, पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे नहीं, इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन होगा राज्यसभा में, सीट्स इक्वली डिफाइन कर दी जाती, डिवाइड कर दी जाती, तो वो कौन सा रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता? सिमेट्रिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन. द अदर मेथड वी अडॉप्ट, हमने सिमेट्रिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन अडॉप्ट नहीं किया हमारे इंडिया में. दूसरा जो मेथड है, मतलब पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे सीट्स जो है वो डिवाइड की गई, तो पॉपुलेशन के अकॉर्डिंग जो है वो सीट्स डिवीजन हुआ है इंडिया. तो हमने वी अडॉप्टेड सेकंड काइंड ऑफ मेथड. इन यूएसए जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया, एवरी स्टेट हैज इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन इन द सेनेट. इससे क्या होता है? इक्वालिटी ऑफ ऑल द स्टेट्स. बट इससे ये होता है कि स्मॉल स्टेट को, स्मॉल अगर स्टेट उसको बेनिफिट होगा, बड़े स्टेट को बेनिफिट नहीं होगा, पॉपुलेशन को बेसिस माना नहीं जाता है. सो द सिस्टम ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन व्हिच वी अडॉप्टेड इन राज्यसभा इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम यूएसए. हमने जो अडॉप्ट किया वो सिस्टम यूएसए के सिस्टम से, जो सिमेट्रिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन उससे डिफरेंट है. हमने कैसा सिस्टम अडॉप्ट किया? The numbers of members to be elected from each state has been fixed by the 4th schedule of the Constitution of India, and according to the population, the seat division was done at that time. So what would happen if we were to follow the American system of equality? अगर हम वो फॉलो करते तो रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द राज्यसभा, उत्तर प्रदेश विद पॉपुलेशन, जिसकी पॉपुलेशन आज भी माने तो हम लगभग 18-19 करोड़ के आसपास है, तो उसको भी सेम ही सीट मिलती. और सिक्किम जहां पे बहुत कम स्ट्रेंथ है, पॉपुलेशन लगभग 6 लाख के आसपास ही है, तो कहां 6 लाख और कहां 20 करोड़ के आसपास की पॉपुलेशन, दोनों को रिप्रेजेंटेशन सेम मिलता. सो वी डिड नॉट फॉलो दैट सिमेट्रिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन. व्हाट वी फॉलोड अदर मेथड, एंड इन व्हिच वी कंसीडर्ड पॉपुलेशन द बेस टू डिवाइड द seats. So the farmers of the constitution wanted to prevent such discrepancy. So what they did, states with larger population get more representative than states with smaller population. So there's a more populous state like Uttar Pradesh, it sends 31 members. वहां पे कितने मेंबर है उत्तर प्रदेश से? 31 मेंबर्स. और जैसे अभी हमने डिस्कस किया राजस्थान में कितने मेंबर है? 10 मेंबर्स हैं राज्यसभा में. So according to the population, the seat division was done at that time. So while a smaller and less populous state like Sikkim has only one seat, so according to the population in Rajya Sabha, they have only one seat. Now the members of the Rajya Sabha are elected for a term of 6 years, and Rajya Sabha never gets dissolved. Rajya Sabha कभी भी dissolve नहीं होती. In every 2 years, 1/3 members of the Rajya Sabha gets retired, and उनकी जो सीट वेकेंट हो जाती है उसके लिए दोबारा इलेक्शन होता है. So they can get re-elected. All members of Rajya Sabha don't complete their terms at the same time. हमने डिस्कस किया ना, सभी एक साथ सबकी टर्म कंप्लीट नहीं होती. जैसे जैसे टर्म्स 1/3 रिटायर होते रहते हैं हर 2 साल में, उनकी जगह नए आते रहते हैं, उनकी 6 year टर्म चलती रहती है. So every 2 years, 1/3 member of the Rajya Sabha complete their term, and elections are held for those 1/3 seats only. So as the seats get vacant, the elections are held only for those vacant seats. So thus the Rajya Sabha is never fully dissolved. तो राज्य सभा कभी भी fully dissolved नहीं होती है. इसीलिए इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Permanent House of the Parliament. लोकसभा कैसे होती है? That is only for 5 years. That is temporary house. वो dissolve होती है ना? और उसी में strength चाहिए होती है गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करने के लिए. So the advantage of this arrangement is that even when the Lok Sabha is dissolved and elections are yet to take place, the meeting of Rajya Sabha can be called and urgent business can be conducted. So very interesting advantage that because we know that Rajya Sabha never gets dissolved, so even suppose the elections of Lok Sabha are going on at that time, Lok Sabha is dissolved obviously, then that's why the general elections are going to be held. The general elections are going on. But because Rajya Sabha never gets dissolved, so the meeting of the Rajya Sabha can be called at any time, because it is a kind of permanent house. वो कभी भी dissolve नहीं होती है. Urgent business वहाँ पे conduct किए जा सकते हैं राज्य सभा में. So apart from the elected members, Rajya Sabha also has 12 nominated members, जिनको president nominate करता है, और उन member को nominate करता है जिनका साइंस के अंदर, लिटरेचर में, आर्ट में और सोशल सर्विसेज में बहुत अच्छा मतलब नाम है ना. So those people are nominated. So nearly 12 persons are nominated by the president in Rajya Sabha. So this is the mechanism, this is the system of Rajya Sabha. In our next topic, we're going to discuss the bicameralism in Germany and Lok Sabha. That's what we're going to discuss in our next class, everyone. Thank you.